Hey there. Today I wanted to discuss how I think the Sonic 3 movie is going to be great, for Sonic fans at least. If you're anything like me, you likely grew up with at least one of the Sonic games, whether it be during the classic era, adventure era, or the modern era. I was personally introduced to the Speedster through the Sonic Mega Collection released in 2002 for the Nintendo GameCube, which included many of the classic games and a few others to boot, as well as some extra content to entertain fans. I instantly became a fan, and not too long after, I bought a copy of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the GameCube, the very first video game I ever bought for myself. Before we go any further, if you're interested in more content like this, leave a comment and a like, and subscribe if you want to see other random videos that I spit out with some of my friends. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. As a kid, I absolutely adored Adventure 2. The new, slick design of Sonic compared to his classic era self, the rapid paced music that made me feel like I was on the verge of a heart attack, it was wonderful. I later moved on to other games, including Shadow the Hedgehog, which I rented from Blockbuster, yes, I'm that old, and others such as Sonic Riders, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, and many others. It wasn't until 2022 that I found my original copy of Sonic Adventure 2 and played it again, only to realize I didn't have any of the memory sticks required for my Wii. I found out that it was also available on Xbox though, and I decided to purchase it there. Beating the game for the very first time, which is better late than never I suppose. Recently, with the announcement of the third Sonic movie, as well as the multitude of teasers and trailers with it, I decided to play the game on my PC and discuss what thoughts and expectations have been brewing in my head ever since the end credits scene from the second movie. For those who haven't seen the first or second movie, here's a little synopsis. And warning, there will be spoilers for those who want to watch the movies first, and I recommend that you do. Sonic 1 established our blue hero and his story, where he's from, why he's on Earth, the surrounding cast, and the main villain, Dr. Robotnik. He struggles to find a way to fit in and has to deal with his loneliness. An outburst of high speed alerts the government, who sends Robotnik to investigate and obtain the source. After defeating Robotnik and sending him back to an alien world, he's accepted into his town as a hero. At the end of the movie, we're introduced to the flying two-tailed fox, Tails. Sonic 2 picks up right where the first left off. Tails is searching for Sonic for some unknown reason. Sonic is getting more acquainted with his new friends and home in Green Hills, all the while peace has been restored. On a faraway planet, Robotnik is planning his escape and revenge when he encounters the movie's new antagonist, Knuckles. With the two teamed up, they search for Sonic and an all-powerful source of energy, the Master Emerald, which Knuckles is also searching for. As Knuckles learns of the Doctor's true intentions for the Emerald, he joins Sonic and Tails in taking down the newly overpowered Robotnik in a classic Eggman mech. Sonic utilizes the power of the Master Emerald, which has the 7 Chaos Emeralds within it, to defeat him and restore peace once more. In the end credits scene, the Guardian Union of Nations, also known as GUN, has discovered a secret that was kept away for 50 years, Shadow the Hedgehog. This is where the beginning of Sonic 3 will take place. Much of the community is split on how this movie will represent Shadow's characterization compared to the games that have been used to piece it all together. Many are skeptical that it won't represent him well, while others are concerned that he will lose any sense of coolness or edge that made him so cool in his introduction in Sonic Adventure 2. On the other hand, many, including myself, are excited to see this new adaptation of Shadow. Not only is it super cool that Keanu Reeves voices him, but from the trailers that we've seen so far, the director appears to be holding true to the edge that made him so cool back in the day. It does help, though, that the director for Sonic 3 worked on the Shadow the Hedgehog game in 2005, which has a very mixed reception amongst fans, and the Knuckles series that aired last year on Paramount Plus, which also has similar receptions. I'd like to go ahead and discuss some of my thoughts and why I'm so optimistic for the upcoming movie that drops on December 20th of this year. My first reason, the characters. They are all decently fleshed out, not just static hosts or background pieces. I'd love to see growth coming from each of them in specific ways. For Sonic, his character is interesting to say the least. I'm somewhat indifferent on how they've portrayed him, but it isn't necessarily a bad portrayal. I don't like the flossing, but I do love the carefreeness that he brings. Playing into the fact that he still seems to be a kid in the second movie will allow for room to mature, especially with more dire consequences on the line, such as Robotnik quite literally blowing up half of the moon. They also need to give him those sick light dash shoes from Adventure 2, in my opinion. Knuckles received his own show, which honestly was more like the Wade Whipple show, and if you don't know him, he's a side character in the movies that's mostly used for comic relief. The bonding they had was funny at times, and it's always nice to get more lore about the echidnas that Knuckles descends from. Also, getting to see his original treasure hunter hat from the Sonic OVA is a great throwback to simpler times. I also expect to see a decent amount of echidna lore, simply based on the in-game story explaining how Gerald Robotnik based Shadow's design off of echidna murals, which depict a hedgehog-shaped being defeating a large foe, which we find out is perfect chaos in Sonic Adventure 1. Hey, Editing Jackson here. After looking it back over, I was wrong here. The mural depicting a hedgehog-shaped creature battling a large foe is not Perfect Chaos. It's actually the Eggman mech from Sonic 2, I believe, and the Perfect Chaos mural comes in later in Sonic Adventure 1. Tails has yet to really receive a great time to shine. Yes, he was shown to be a mechanical wizard, creating all sorts of gadgets and tools to use, but aside from those, he hasn't seen much growth in his own respect. I think that's something that Sonic 3 might try to focus and pay more attention to though, similar to how Sonic Adventure 1 handled it by giving Tails his own important missions that helped him become a little bit more independent from Sonic and the others. As a Sonic Adventure 2 fan, I would also love to see the Tornado or the Sonic plane make its debut in the universe. Dr. Robotnik, who's played by Jim Carrey, brings a certain chaos to the character that isn't matched anywhere else. With the addition of another Jim Carrey and Gerald Robotnik, the implications it'll have on the overall story will be awesome to watch. From the trailers, the Robotniks seem to be fun to watch, and how they interact with one another is hilarious, especially if they follow the game's storyline. I expect there to be some sort of twist towards the end of the movie though, similar to how Gerald Robotnik betrays everyone in Sonic Adventure 2 and plans an ultimate revenge. I'm also interested to see if they introduce any new characters, potentially some like Amy Rose, Rouge the Bat, with the Chaotix Detective Agency. I could also see them introducing somebody like Metal Sonic in the end credits, potentially opening the doors to more spin-offs or series. Any of them are fine as long as Big the Cat stays behind bars where he belongs. My second reason, implications on the franchise. This movie could have long-lasting effects on the franchise moving forward. I don't think that it'll affect the game universe, however. With the release of Sonic and Shadow Generations, we got a development of Shadow's story and saw a slightly different side of his character. It compounded on the stories of Sonic Adventure 2 and the Shadow the Hedgehog game, while bringing something a little new to the story that was interesting. I loved the idea of Shadow having to reconnect with Maria and Gerald, the pre-Mad Scientist version at least, and learning to let them go and move on from his past. I believe this movie will have similar effects, but to a lesser degree, as I believe Sega wants to keep the two universes as just that, separate. I don't think that this is a bad idea, but I could see the two worlds colliding at some point in the future. My third reason, the music. Sonic games have always had banger soundtracks, whether that's Sonic Adventure, Adventure 2, Shadow's game, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Riders, Sonic Mania, the list just goes on and on. I absolutely loved listening to the songs from these games on repeat as a kid. Even as I'm typing the script for this video, I'm listening to them. This was always something I noticed from the games, but the first two movies felt a little lackluster. The Knuckles series was good to watch and had some good music, but mostly that's just because it was music from the 80s. But it seems many think we will see the return of Jun Senue and Crush 40, which has my fanboy side going nuts. Overall, I'm pretty excited to see this movie. I even convinced my wife and my brother to indulge me and come see it with me. There are many things that I'm nervous about that I'd like for them to get right, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to be a fan. Shadow was one of my favorite characters growing up, and I want to see him given the respect that the character demands. I'll likely make a post-screening analysis of the movie, and if that's something that you'd like to see, make sure to give this video a like, and if you want to see other random content, subscribe. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe if you'd like. With that, those are all my thoughts that I had concerning the movie, and I'm very excited to go see it. Thank you all for watching and listening, and I hope you have an awesome day. Take care.